Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Friday, August 12, 2011. We are in Mark chapter 6, verse 21. But an opportunity came when Herod on his birthday gave a banquet for his nobles and military commanders and the leading men of Galilee. For when Herodias' daughter came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his guests. And the king said to the girl, "Ask me for whatever you wish, and I will give it to you." And he vowed to her, "Whatever you ask me, I will give you, up to half of my kingdom." And she went out and said to her mother, "What should I ask? For what should I ask?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." And she came in immediately with haste to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." And the king was exceedingly sorry, but because of his oaths and his guests, he did not want to break his word to her. And immediately the king sent an executioner with orders to bring John's head. He went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head on a platter, and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard of it, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. Well, we already learned that John was put in prison because he dared to do two things that you just don't do. He criticized somebody's marriage, and he criticized the political leader. In particular, the political leader's marriage. So if you don't want to get in trouble, we said, don't do those things. And thankfully, most of our preachers and church leaders nowadays know that, and so they don't ever deal with those kind of issues because they don't want to get in any trouble. So what's going to happen though? Well, if you've ever heard of the expression, and I'm going to get a little vulgar here, but thinking with the wrong head, that's exactly what happened with Herod. He had this beautiful young girl dancing. This is his wife that he's not supposed to be married to. Her daughter, so his stepdaughter, does some kind of erotic dance, gets him all worked up. And you know, when guys are like that, they'll pretty much do anything. They'll say anything and they'll do anything. And he said, "Okay, whatever you want. Whatever you want, I'll do for you." And she said, "Hold on a second." So she goes talk to her mother. And her mother says, "I want John's head." She hated John because John was criticizing her marriage, see? Herod didn't hate John as much as she did. Herod wasn't that crazy about him. Herod put him in prison, but Herod did listen to him. He had a little bit of a fascination for him. But you know, because Herod had said he was going to do it, and because he had everybody around him, and he didn't want to look like a fool, he had John's head cut off. So, I guess the primary lesson to learn from this is don't put yourself in situations where there's no win. Don't be so captivated by somebody, particularly somebody of the opposite sex, that you give up your convictions, or that you give up your faith, or that you're willing to compromise. Now, Herod had already compromised by being married to his brother Philip's wife, but he was willing to even compromise further because he allowed himself to be allured by the temptation of a young lady. Proverbs 5, 6, and 7 deals a lot with that. And if you look at King David's life, you'll see where he messed up that way. And Solomon and many other great men have fallen, and this certainly was not a great man. So just watch yourself. And ladies, watch yourself too. You could be easily allured by that handsome devil, and he is a devil, so watch out for him. Alright, that's the main lesson, I guess, today. We can always learn, always practical stuff in the Word of God. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.